What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of the Undergrad Forum. Now in this video, we're going to talk about how to study for USMLE Step 2. Now as you know, Step 2 is broken up into two different tests. There's Step 2 CK, which is clinical knowledge, the multiple choice exam, and Step 2 CS, clinical skills, where you go to a testing center and you see standardized patients and they test your clinical skills. We'll talk about both of those during this exam, how I studied for both, how I prepared for both, and the techniques that I think will make your studying quite simple, to the point, efficient, and won't burn you out or annoy you, and you'll do hopefully well in the end. As always, I'm going to prelude these kind of videos where I'm going to say this is my advice. It's my never humble and biased opinion, as I've heard people say before. It's kind of cool saying that. It's just my advice. Take it for what you want. If you like it, please feel free to adopt it, change it whatever you like, or completely ignore it. So it's just out there. I think that it's simple advice. If you've seen my other videos, you know I have the theme of I don't like doing things that are unnecessary or kind of complex or just wasteful for no reason, just to make your life more miserable. Let's do things that are efficient, to the point, make life fun and enjoyable, and we get to do the things we like. So let's just jump right into it. The way I studied for Step 2 was recognizing that during your third year, where you're going through all your clerkships and you're getting clinical experience, all of those clerkships, by the time you end third year and start fourth year, will be on Step 2 CK. You take Step 2 CK at the beginning of your fourth year, or some people strategically put it somewhere else in their opinion, but I took it in the beginning of fourth year, right after my third year, and it went quite well. So what did we do? Well, we realized that during third year, we should probably pay attention and study. So that's like one basic thing. If you're in third year now, whatever rotation you're on, study hard, see your patients, use common sense, take the shelves very seriously, learn as much as you can, because the more that you learn during third year, it'll just make your Step 2 time easier because you're more aware of things. Ironically, you're still going to be studying during Step 2 because you'll just forget things, but make your life easier. Just study during third year, do your normal routine, just keep up the hard work. So that's like a baseline foundation thing you're going to do for Step 2. Just like for Step 1, you study during your first and second year for Step 1. For Step 2, you're just going to study during your third year, during your clinical rotations for Step 2. So that's like a background thing. There's videos I've put up for different rotations you can look at, but just as a background. If you're watching this and you're like, man, I'm going to take Step 2 soon, but I didn't do that well during third year, or I didn't study that hard, well, okay, that's cool too. Don't worry about it. My thing is this: don't worry about things that you can't control. If it was in the past and you didn't study that hard during third year, or you studied hard and you just didn't do that well, okay, what's done is done. Today is a new day and you have this new task of you're going to take Step 2. Focus on that. Let the past be the past, and let's keep moving forward. So, irrespective of what your background is, this video can still apply to you. If you did really well during third year, good job. If you didn't, it's okay. We're going to all go forward together. So, I did a two-step approach, real simple. USMLE World and one textbook. Nothing else. I don't like, having a bunch of resources because, frankly, I don't use them. I end up feeling kind of like panicky, like, oh, I should look at everything, and honestly, like, that's just not my style. I learned, like, during Step 1, I kind of learned through trial and error of what worked, and for Step 2, I really got to refine it, so it's a lot easier. So, my opinion. So, what did I do? In my opinion, there's only two books that I know that you can use for Step 2, and I only like one QBank, and that's USMLE World. I've used other QBanks. I don't. My opinion, no offense to any QBanks out there, any companies, don't hate me, sorry. I don't like them. I'm not going to mention their names because it's rude, but I have no problem mentioning the name of the one I like, and that's USMLE World. They're not paying me or anything, just so you know, like, I don't think, it's just my own opinion. Everyone uses UWorld. It's awesome. It's very much like the real test. I don't know how they do it. It's kind of cool, but it's very much like the real test. The questions are at the same level, and you learn a lot from them. So, there's two books that I know of. One is this, Step Up to USMLE Step 2, and then this one, USMLE Step 2, Targeted Review, Master the Boards by Kaplan. All right, and there's Conrad Fisher as always. This dude's everywhere. All right, these two books. So I did the buddy system for my studying. Me and my one friend, we just like met in the library every day. We were there in the morning. We did the routine I'm going to tell you about right now, and then we just left. So that was one thing I'd recommend, doing like a small buddy system. I don't think it's a good idea to study in groups because you just kind of need to be in your zone doing your work, getting through questions and reading the book. So that's just, you kind of need some focused, quiet time every day. Second, the benefit of the buddy system, it's kind of like having a gym buddy where, you feel like, if you're kind of tired one morning and you don't feel like going and studying, the benefit of the buddy system is you have liability. You have someone who's like, why aren't you at the library? Where are you at? Get over here. Same thing for the gym. Why aren't you here? Get over here. So that's one thing I like about this buddy system is it holds you accountable. You come to the library. It keeps things kind of fun to have breaks with one of your friends. I wouldn't recommend too big of a group, but again, that's on to you. Do whatever you like. But I just did one person, just me and my friend. We studied every day. It was, and that's the thing. It was kind of fun. Not that we were all excited every day to study for boards, but it kept things light. We studied hard. We had fun in between. We laughed, and you kind of do your thing. So that's my recommendation. Get a buddy system. So book-wise, how do you use the book and how do you use the QBank? Because that's only two things we're doing. Well, the USMLE World QBank, I'll put a link below, but you can obviously Google it. The point of the QBank is you do the questions and then you spend a lot of time reading the answers and learning from them. Then you look at the book and then you find it in the book, whatever the content is, and you write stuff in. So I used this book. My friend used this book. I didn't touch this book at all. I just liked this one. Does it make a difference which one you use? I don't think so. They're probably just about the same. My friend used a different one. I used this one. I'm sure we did just the same as well. So pick a book and just go with it. It's not a big deal. The reason why I liked this one better was that it was like more condensed and kind of like more tightly packed, and I just liked that. While the other Master of the Boards book from Kaplan was kind of more like bullet point general. Just wasn't my style. So again, just pick a book and go with it. So what are we gonna do? Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna like run you through a day of how you're gonna study, and this is like what I did. I think it's kind of cool. So you wake up in the morning, you do your morning routine, get your lunch ready, go to the library or wherever you study, and go sit down. So this is like day one of studying. Do not start by telling yourself, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read this whole book back to forward, refresh myself of all of third year, and then start doing the QBank and getting the most out of it. No! I'm going to say it again. No! One more time. No! See, that's not a good idea, man. You got to be efficient, okay? If you want to read the book, go ahead. I ain't holding you back, but not what I wanted to do. And I think that's because that's not like, I started to do that when I was studying for step one, and I didn't like it. It's not fun. Reading the book doesn't really get you where, doesn't get you a lot, and it's just not a good style that I liked. If you want to read it, go ahead, man. I ain't holding you back. But here's what I did. I bought this book, I bought the QBank, walked in there all excited and stuff with my peanut butter and jelly sandwich and a banana, and I was like, let's tackle step two. I hadn't touched this book, I hadn't started the QBank, nothing. I sit down, let's get down to work on step one. I opened up the QBank, created a first test, 46 questions, the first block, and just hit the block, all right? Like not in tutor mode, in full exam mode, where you just you do the full test back to back, and then it'll show you the answers afterwards. So you do a full block, and so this is day one, guys. You're in there, you get in the morning, don't worry about the book, don't worry about not having reviewed much. Just open up the QBank, hit all questions, everything, total random, full test and just do the first block. Do your best. You get some right, you get some wrong, who cares? Just do your best, and this is the beauty of it. You're going to start doing what's probably one of the more important things, getting test-taking strategy down cold. Ironically, there's two things that make you do well in this exam: your knowledge-based and your test-taking strategies, right? So this is where you learn your test-taking strategies, and it's why I like UWorld so much. Since the UWorld is so much like the real exam and the wording so much like it as well, you can really develop and master your test-taking strategies while using UWorld. So open up the QBank, do your first one, and really try. Don't just get lazy and hit letters and say, I'll look at it later. Every time you do a QBank block, turn off your cell phone, put everything away. For that hour, you are focused on those questions and give it your best shot. Make it as real-like as you can. All I did was, I had my laptop in front of me and I had paper and pencil and some, and some water, not like the exam with water or whatever. And that's it. Keep it like the exam. Don't distract yourself and tell yourself, oh, look at my phone real quick. No way, bro. 1 hour, just give it all you got, do the questions, and that's it. Then after that, you're gonna like go through, like in review mode now, you have your first block, and go through every single question, read the question again, whether you got it right or wrong. Sometimes you get things right for the wrong reason, and even the things you get right, when you read the description of why the other ones were wrong, you end up learning a lot as well. So this is your primary textbook, if you get the point. You're gonna go through every single question now, and you're gonna read the question again, you're gonna look at the answers, and then you'll read the descriptions for every single answer, and they'll have a big one in the bottom teaching you like what the point of the question was and some lessons. So this is like your primary textbook. UWorld is going to be your Step 2 Bible. This is just to accompany UWorld. UWorld's the core. So you did the block, and now you're going through it one by one. This will take time. Do not feel bad. You're going to have some friends that are going to be like, man, I did X number of blocks, I reviewed it this fast, wham, bam, bam. And you're going to be like, oh man, I'm not that fast, what's going on? Do not trip or worry about all your super weird friends who are going at the speed of light. Do your own thing. Space it out at your own level. You're as fast as you are. The point is you want to go through it at the rate where you're comfortably learning. Make fun of me, I don't care, because I would do 2 blocks a day and review those 2 blocks, or maybe 3 sometimes, and that's it. So, and my friends, and I had one friend, I remember him so vividly, he was like, man, you only did like 2 or 3, I'm doing like 4 to 6 a day. And I'm like, good for you, man, I didn't even care. You know, I'm doing my 2 to 3 a day, I'm on track to, for test day to finish UWorld and have reviewed my book. I'm learning slow and steady, life is good, I'm happy, everything's working. Get on my grill, I'm just doing my own thing. So that's what I did. In the mornings, I'd do a block, and then I'd spend probably maybe 2 hours, I think. Maybe it takes you longer, man, who cares? Going through every single question, reading through it carefully, studying it, and then reading it in this book as well. That's the beauty of it. By doing UWorld and having this text at the same time, you get the beauty of practicing test-taking strategy, and over time, you'll learn how to take the test better. Because as you read the solutions, you think to yourself, man, I could have figured this out, even if I didn't have the knowledge base, or I got tricked with the wording. Over time, you'll learn how to read the questions better, and how to kind of figure out the answers. That just comes with practice, and that is the beauty of UWorld. You will learn it through experience. The second component of the test being the knowledge base. In UWorld, you read the description for every single letter about what was wrong and right in that big chunk they have in the bottom, and then you kind of learn something, but for every question, you're learning like 6 things probably, or 5 or 6 with each letter, and some real gems. So the way you can make this stick is for every question, you read that stuff on UWorld, then you find it in here. The way I did this one, I did the paper copy. Some people do digital, whatever you like, man. I did the paper, but I would open up the digital on my browser, because I can't, you get like a code, and you can like log in and use like the control search function. So that's what I would do. I would because I didn't want to like go to the appendix and spend all this time looking. I would just like control function it, control F and search for the words I was looking for each topic. Read it in this book. Look at the UWorld and read that, and then write the UWorld notes in here. UWorld has stuff this book doesn't, and the other book doesn't as well. So that's the cool part. You get to read the core knowledge of whatever questions you're reading in this book, and then you get to add your UWorld notes to it. And the cool thing is, once you've gone through all of UWorld, this book kind of becomes like an ultimate Bible, where it contains all its core content that the publishers put in, and also all your UWorld stuff. And as you're Googling stuff and learning, all that stuff goes in here too. So once you've finished UWorld, you can kind of go through this book again, and later during 4th year, this book really becomes like a nice thing to have, because it's something that you've really put a lot of time into. And that's how I studied, man. That's it. So let's kind of review what that was. We would do a block in the morning, and then we'd spend like 2 hours or so, maybe 3, going over that block, reading it carefully, learning it from every single question, multiple things, reading about it in the book, writing in the book, going to the next question. You finish that block, you do another block, you do the same thing again, and that's it. You can figure out the spacing of like how much time do you do 2 blocks back to back and then review the 2 blocks. That's all up to you. But the point is, you're going to do questions, you're going to spend time going through the answers slowly and carefully and learning. That's like high yield reading, and then you're going to do that high yield reading in your book and adding in notes. and that's it. That's all I did. And if you think about it, that's a lot of work, man. It sounds like, wait, all you did was questions and review a book? Well, yeah, but the questions was the big thing. I spent a lot of time carefully, like doing the practice tests, learning test-taking strategies, spent a lot of time reading the answers and studying from it and getting it from the book and vice versa. And that's all you do. And there's a lot of questions on UWorld for Step 2, man. You're going to see repetition. You'll see variance. You'll see like answers that were wrong in one question be the core of another question. So there's plenty of time for you to learn. Don't stress about the beginning. Like, just do your thing. Get through the question bank calmly and slowly. And that should be enough. There are some people that say like, oh, I did the question bank like 2 times, 3 times. Cool. I did it once and that was cool. So up to you again what you want to do. I just did it once. I did it slowly, carefully, and I just kind of like reviewed my book like the last week before the exam, and that's it. Some people I think want to go through UWorld a couple times. The problem with me for that was like I wanted to go through it like slowly and carefully and learn, and I just wasn't that fast for it. Some people are just more quick, or maybe they don't spend as much time reviewing as I did. I mean, I know for sure that's what took so long. I just spent a lot of time going through the questions and like reading and kind of slowing down, but it's your style. Do what works best for you. But that's kind of the theme that I worked with. I did that throughout my kind of like month or so of studying. And then once I finished UWorld, I had like a couple days left. And there's like so UWorld itself, when you buy it, you can buy like practice tests, where I think it's like 4 blocks or something, and then they give you like a sample score of what you'll probably get. I did those too. Those are just more UWorld questions. Honestly, there's nothing fancy about them. The only thing fancy is when you're buying the QBank, you're buying something that'll give you a 3-digit score. Is it marketing? Is it more useful? I don't know. I think everyone's going to buy that. When you're studying for Step 2, you're all like excited and nervous, so you end up buying it, I think. I think there's some like NMBEs for like Step 2. I think I don't know if I did any, honestly. I don't remember anymore. I may have done one, but I just think doing the UWorld and going slow through the answers and putting the stuff in the book and reading the book carefully is more than enough. Just give yourself time. Last week I did do that. I mean, 1 week before my exam, I did do the what is it called, that practice test on UWorld, and I kind of like reviewed my book. I kind of knew some weak points I had. If you don't have the kind of, I guess, self-insight, just kind of review the book. See what's kind of like you're interested, what you're skimming, and what you're like, oh, I don't remember that too well. So that's all I did the week before. I had finished UWorld. If you don't finish all of UWorld and a test date's coming up, but you're doing okay, I think you're probably going to be fine, but again, that's up to you. Don't worry if you have like a block or 2 left, or you didn't make it all the way through UWorld. It's your style, man. If you made it through the majority of UWorld and you were slow and careful and you're doing okay on the tests, all that matters. A side point I kind of want to make is don't read too much into student doctor when it comes to these things. Don't get on there and be like, okay, I'm scoring this % on my UWorld blocks. What does that mean? Should I take the test? Blah, 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 blah. If you're like getting the majority of the questions right and you're developing a firm grasp, that's like a gut instinct for you. You know, just take your test. Don't read too much into the forums online. I mean, I used to read them a lot, but now I'm just kind of like, there's a lot of stuff here that I don't think is all that useful. Just maybe people are all just nervous and writing stuff together, making each other maybe more nervous. I don't know. So just kind of like keep your head cool, do your thing, work with your buddy system, have fun, exercise, sleep well. You sleep, there's no point to like staying up late every night. Sleep well, eat right, use common sense for these things, man. This is not a time to do weird stuff. Don't start picking up bad habits. Don't, have weird sleep habits. Go to bed at a reasonable hour, wake up at a good hour, get like 7 to 8. I got 8 hours of sleep every night. I didn't care. 8 hours of sleep, drink your, your food, eat healthy, do your studies, take breaks in between, and just stay focused. Use common sense. There's nothing elaborate here. There's nothing fancy, just basic stuff. And hopefully this 2 resource technique is more than enough. 1 QBank, do UWorld, 1 book to write the UWorld stuff in, and that should be more than enough, guys. So that's how you study for Step 2 CK. This video is getting kind of long. I'll make a separate one right after this for how to study for Step 2 CS. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it makes studying for Step 2 CK less nerve-wracking, less, anxiety-ridden. Just keep it simple. You'll do well, man. Don't even worry about it. If you have any questions, down below in the comments, right on the Facebook group. You guys are doing a great job of having our community grow. Happy to always help you guys out, make videos. And as always, guys, enjoy your studies.